Let me ask you something. As a leader, your mind is your greatest asset, right? It's where the strategies come from, the big decisions, all the insights. But what if I told you that your mind is lying to you? What if that one tool you trust more than anything is actually what's holding you back the most? Yeah, let's really dig into this. See, we all have this little narrator inside our heads. It's on 24/7, just churning out stories to try and make sense of everything. And if you're a manager, believe me, that narrator is working overtime, especially when the pressure's on. And these are the kinds of stories it tells, aren't they? You're right on the edge of making a tough but necessary call, and that little voice pops up, "You're not good enough for this." Or maybe you've got a bold new idea, and the voice whispers, "It's too late, someone else already did it better." These don't feel like thoughts, do they? They feel like facts, and they lead to that awful, crippling hesitation. And here's the most dangerous part. We believe them. Without even questioning it, we just accept these stories as the truth. But that's exactly what we're here to dismantle today, because those stories, they are not facts. So if they aren't facts, then what in the world are they? Well, that brings us to our first big idea, learning to recognize your own internal patterns. What you're dealing with isn't some kind of personal flaw. It's not a sign that you're a bad leader. It's just a pattern, a well-worn, deeply ingrained mental habit that your brain defaults to when things get tough. And just seeing it as a predictable pattern instead of some undeniable truth is the very first step to taking its power away. Okay, but where does a pattern like that even come from? Why does it feel like our own brain is trying to sabotage our biggest goals? Let's take a look under the hood at the biology of why we hesitate. Now this is absolutely fascinating. You have to understand the fundamental conflict going on inside your own head. Your brain's core programming, developed over millions of years, has one job: keep you safe, keep you alive. It's a survival machine. But your ambition, your desire to innovate, to take that big risk, to lead your team to a new place, that's not about survival. And your brain is hardwired to see that kind of risk as a threat. So here's how it plays out, step by step. First, your brain kicks into its default mission, protection. To do that, it immediately starts scanning the horizon for everything that could possibly go wrong. It's like a heat-seeking missile for fear and risk. And what's the natural result of that process? You guessed it, overthinking, indecision, that analysis paralysis that hits right when you need to be at your sharpest. And this right here is the ultimate outcome. Your brain isn't trying to be mean, it thinks it's helping by keeping you safe. But in the world of leadership, what feels safe is often just stagnation. It's the comfort zone. It's what keeps you right where you are. But here's the good news. You are not a prisoner of this old, ancient wiring. There is one single, incredibly powerful truth that can set you free. Let's talk about that real moment of power. This is it. This is the whole game, right here. Read that again. Just because you think something doesn't mean it's real. Your thoughts are not commands from on high. They're just suggestions. There's sparks of electricity in your head, not undeniable truths. The second you really truly get this, everything starts to shift. Just look at this breakdown. Column A is how most of us live on autopilot. The thought, my team is going to hate this change, pops into your head and bam, you react. You delay the announcement, you water down the message. But now look at column B. This is the new way. The same thought comes up, but instead of reacting, you just observe it. You get curious. You ask, hey, is that actually true? Or is that just my old fear pattern talking? Come on, think about it for a second. That presentation you were absolutely positive you were going to bomb. That tough conversation with an employee you were sure would end in disaster. How many times has the catastrophe you rehearsed over and over in your head just never happened? It's because your mind is an incredible fiction writer, and its favorite genre is suspense. So the big takeaway here is a tough pill to swallow, but it's crucial. That internal advisor you've been listening to your entire life, sometimes it's the very thing that's building the prison walls around you, one negative thought at a time. Okay, so if our minds can hold us back, how do we flip the script and turn it back into our greatest asset? This last section is all about putting this into practice and leading with a totally new mindset. And the most amazing part is that the shift isn't about some complicated 10-step program. It's about a single light bulb moment. The moment you realize you don't have to believe everything you think. That's the pivot point. That's when it all changes. And here it is, a super simple 3-step playbook for the next time that wave of doubt hits you. First, just stop. Don't Immediately act on the fear. Second, get curious about it. Start questioning the thought. Ask it, hey, what evidence do you have to back that up? And third, that little bit of space you create between the thought and your action, that's the pause. And that's where all your power is. See, it's not about trying to fight your thoughts or argue with yourself. It's just about creating enough of a gap so you can make a conscious choice instead of having a gut-level fear-based reaction. That tiny pause is where real, intentional leadership happens. When you do this, you completely change the relationship you have with your own mind. You go from being yanked around by every anxious thought to being the calm observer on the sideline who can see the thought, nod at it, and then choose to act wisely anyway. So what's the bottom line for you as a leader? Well, you get to trade all that mental chatter for crystal clear thinking. You replace that career-killing hesitation with decisive, powerful action. And when you change your actions, you don't just get slightly better results, you completely change your future. So, I'm going to leave you with a challenge. The very next time that voice in your head says, you can't do this, or it's too risky, or you're not ready, don't just accept it as fact. Challenge it. Get curious. Ask it a question. Because the most important leadership move you'll ever make is learning how to lead yourself.